Well, good morning, my dear students. Welcome back to Sri Guru Independent View online classes. In the last class, we had already discussed everything I need to know I learned in the forest with some key points, and today we'll discuss what nature teaches and the Forest of Poetry by Rabindranath Tagore. Right. Well, my dear students, everything I need to know I learned in the forest by Vandana Shiva. What nature teaches, or earth democracy, In Earth Democracy, what Vandana Shiva, she wants us to know. Today, at a time of multiple crises intensified by globalization, multiple crises, many crises are there, many problems are there. It's because of globalized world, intensified by globalized world. We need to move away from the paradigm. We need to get away from paradigm. Paradigm in the sense it's a model of something that can be copied. We have to make a nature as a model, not we ourselves. We need to move away from the paradigm of nature as dead matter. We need to move to an ecological paradigm. Let us not to make this nature as dead matter. Let us make it as an ecological paradigm, which is going to give us a wonderful contribution. It's because of nature we are not able to think about anything. It's because of nature we are living happily in this world without having any basic amenities. Without having basic amenities in the sense, if the nature itself is not there, how can we live? Can we get any basic amenities? We can't get it. That's the reason, my dear students, in this nature, we being a part of this environment, it's our prime duty to respect and to co-create and cooperate. That's what Vandana Shiva tells here, that we need to move to an ecological paradigm. We need to convert ourselves into an ecological factor, an ecological theme. Otherwise, what happens? We will not be having any kind of the existence, and human beings do not have any value. That's all. The best teacher is nature herself. Who is the best teacher? As I told you in the last class, first comes the mother, second comes the teacher. teacher. And here, according to Vandana Shiva, in this lesson or in this essay, we come across that nature is the best teacher. Who is the best teacher? Nature is the best teacher to herself because she is the only mentor. She is the only guide. She gives us all the natural resources. She gives us the sense of beauty, knowledge, wisdom, and she provides whatever the human beings require. That is the reason we are truly grateful to Mother Earth or this nature. So we just can't go against of it. If you go against of it, then we may not have any kind of living circumstances. Next, the Earth University teaches Earth democracy. Earth University teaches what it teaches? It teaches Earth democracy, which is the freedom for all species to evolve within the web of life. One has to develop, one has to find the growth. It doesn't mean that Earth democracy is only democracy for the Earth itself in order to protect the Mother Earth. Instead, or at the same time, it is the freedom for all these species. I mean, all the living beings are having equal share. If we say that only we, the human beings, are having entire possessive or entire property, or only we human beings are having everything, or only we human beings can be able to own everything. And if we say that whatever is present on this earth we can possess, then it's truly foolishness. So let us not have this kind of misconceptions. Let us not think in this bad way. Let us not to be selfish in this world. And the freedom and responsibility of humans as members of the Earth family, let us think we have to freedom in this Earth democracy. There should be freedom and responsibility. It's our responsibility. It's our freedom. It's our prime duty to even protect the other living organisms which are present on this earth. Otherwise, we'll never be called as irrational animals. My dear students, as members of the Earth family, to recognize, protect and respect the rights of other species as an Earth family, as we are a part of this Mother Earth or nature, we have to respect them, we have to provide them whatever they need based on their demands. We have to provide them. If we do not provide them, there will be no harmonious relationship. It loses and there will be no equity, equilibrium. That is the reason she appeals, she requests. Who? Vandana Shiva requests at this point of time, right, through her essay, that if we provide all the facilities, if we love the other living beings, definitely they will also love us. My dear students, Earth democracy is a shift from anthropocentrism to ecocentrism. Anthropocentrism. Anthropocentrism to ecocentrism. Anthropocentrism means what? Human-centered, human-centric, human beings. Human beings are the supreme. Or human beings. Human beings are going to show their significant part in this universe or in this cosmos. Human beings will say that we have owned everything. Whatever should be a shift. There should be a shift from anthropocentrism to ecocentrism. Biocentric or biocentric. It should be biocentric or biocentrism. Ecological. See, here nature is considered as a significant part of the universe. Nature is considered as the significant part of the universe. My dear students, here let us not do support for this idea anthropocentrism. Anthropocentrism, what it is going to give? Human beings are being considered as significant part of this entire universe. Let us not have this concept anthropocentrism. I mean human-centered. Let us not to give or allow. Let's not have this idea of anthropocentrism. When it comes to the nature particularly, the entire nature nowadays we are finding that, so we are dealing with anthropocentric ideas and feelings. That is the reason we are unable to protect the mother earth. That's all. She says that Vandanashma, there should be shift, there should be a change, there should be a transformation from anthropocentrism to ecocentrism. Then only we can have a wonderful relationship in this nature. Otherwise, we may not do anything. We will come under lots of natural calamities. And there will be imbalance in the nature. That's all. It should be ecocentric, I mean biocentric or biocentrism. And nature is considered as a significant part of the universe. So nature, we should give importance to the right biocentrism or biocentric one, or eco, right, ecology, or environment, I mean nature, not to the human beings. Human beings will say, as I told in the last class, that human beings, age is limited, but his wants are unlimited. In the same way, right, human beings will never think about the other living beings, because he is in the world of selfishness. He is in the world of selfishness. Nowhere did he find the, yes, selfless idea in the name of the globalized world, globalized idea. Because of industries, because of this corporate world, man is unable to control his own mind. He is controlled by machines. That is the reason. When he is controlled by machines, how can he be controlled by he himself? It is unbelievable thing. My dear students, this is exceptional about human beings. To read the human being's mind, that's the reason she calls human beings as anthropocentrism. How man is overtaking the nature's sources. This is truly disgusting. And since we all depend on the earth, our democracy translates into human rights, to food and water. Democracy, what it shows? It shows us, it has, see, we the human beings, it's our rights to provide the, yes, to look after the other living beings, but at the same time, earth being the main property, main asset for all the living beings. The earth, Mother Earth has got every right and duty, or rights and duties to cooperate and to provide the basic facilities, especially food and water. And happy, or they will be glad to remember that Mother Earth has given us all the facilities, and it's because of her only we are able to convince ourselves. Otherwise, we start to beg for the food, we start to beg for the water, we start to beg for the other requirements. It's because of Mother Earth, it's because of nature, it's because of natural resources we are able to live very much comfortably in this materialistic world. That's what, my dear students, many times we say it, but in a very few moments we forget it, and the very next moment we do it, whatever we cannot, or whatever we don't want, we do it. It's because the system, unless we change the system, unless we shift, that is what, from anthropocentrism, from this concept to ecocentric or ecocentrism, we just can't bring any changes in this world or in this nature. So we have to have this first. This is our prime duty. Alright. Because the Earth University is located at Navadanya, a biodiversity farm, Earth University, where it is situated at Navadanya farm, participants learn to work with living seeds, living soil, and a web of life. Many participants, they learn to know the web of life with different seeds, living seeds that too. Number of seeds, as we had already discussed it in Beyond Monocultures in the previous class, how she collected varieties of rice and wheat. In the same way, she asked the people to go with the living seeds so that they can be able to learn to this Navadanya form, which leads towards organic farming. Even not only the farmers, but at the same time school children and people from across the world, all of them, they took part in this Navadanya farm in order to know and even to promote this idea among the people. Two of our most popular courses are the A to Z of organic farming, agroecology, and Gandhian globalization. My dear students, A to Z of organic farming, agroecology, and Gandhi and globalization. My dear students, these three ideas, but two popular courses, as I have mentioned over here, right? Two popular courses. Two popular courses of Navadanya form. Two popular courses. A to Z of organic farming. Number one, agroecology and Gandhi and globalization. These are two popular courses which will deal with the earth democracy at Navadanya form. My dear students, even why she focused on this organic farming? Because are we going with presently? Are we going with organic farming? No. We're all going with this fertilized farming. I mean, we are using loads of fertilizers in order to get the crops with good yielding. That's what she promoted the idea called A to Z of organic farming, agroecology, and Gandhian globalization. Whatever Gandhian principles were there towards organic farming were being focused over here in this essay by Vandana Shiva. That's what in this key point, what nature teaches are democracy. We have discussed two important points: anthropocentrism to ecocentrism, and A to Z of organic farming, agroecology, and Gandhi and globalization. Now next, let us move on to the poetry of the forest. The poetry of the forest, this what we can find out. My dear students, the Earth University is inspired by Rabindranath Tagore, India's national poet and Nobel Prize laureate. Here we come across with Nobel laureate Mr. Rabindranath Tagore, who is the first person to get the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1913. Tagore started a learning center in Shantiniketan in West Bengal. Tagore started Shantiniketan. What is Shantiniketan? Shantiniketan is a learning center. A learning center in West Bengal. My dear students, we have to know this. Of course, in 1921, we started a learning center, Shantiniketan, which could support the forest and its resources as a forest school, both to take inspiration from nature and to create an Indian cultural renaissance. You know, renaissance is rebirth. My dear students, in this era, many people will open different universities, technical universities, non-technical universities. But Rabindranath Tagore was the only person who took initiative to start a Shantiniketan, a learning center, a forest school. Even it can also be called as a forest school. A forest school. It was a forest school. Have you ever found in the history that any person could insert any university pertaining to forest? Nowhere, not at all. That's all. This credit goes to Mr. Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore, because he is the person he is the only person who initiated the Shantiniketan, a learning center for many people, both to take inspiration from nature and to create an Indian cultural renaissance. So it had become inspiration from the nature and to create an Indian cultural renaissance. We learned from this school of forest or forest school. Many people could able to get inspiration. In what way? We are being helped by the nature. How we are being motivated by the nature and its beauty. It was totally learned by only, yes, this forest school became university, growing into one of India's most famous centers of learning. The school transformed into a university. It's because of different ideas, different methodologies and different techniques that they used in the university or in the school. That's all. See, transforming, changing from school into university, it's not a common task, my dear students. Why? Because it has to have lots of updates. It has to have lots of creativities. Otherwise, if there is no creativity, if there is no newness, if there is no updation, we just can't able to listen to anybody's class. That's the reason. So everything, every concept has to have a change. Every day we must seek for the newer things. Then only we will be more curious to learn about it. If we learn the same thing every day, then we become fed up. That's all. But here, today, just as in Tagore's time, we need to turn to nature and the forest for lessons in freedom. We need to turn to nature, forest for the freedom. Forest should be left with our freedom. Otherwise, they do not have any existence. In his essay called Tapovan, Forest of Purity, through his essay called Tapovan, Forest of Purity, my dear students, in Forest of Purity, Tapovan, what he says, there are different aspects, different concepts that he taught us through his book. Tagore writes, Indian civilization has been distinctive, making something as clearly different from others. Distinctive means making something clearly as different from others. He wanted to show it in a different way. That is the only reason we like Rabindranath Tagore. Because the poems he wrote, right from Gitanjali, still it is there in the hearts of the millions of students and people. Millions of people. Because they like it. Because he made that poem. His poetry is beautiful, exceptional, very much loyal to the nature. That is the reason he not only wrote it, but he executed through his words, through his poetry. That is the reason we need to read him. We need to read him and we need to read his poetry to understand what is the importance of the nature, we being human beings. Today, just as in Tagore's time, right, Indian civilization has been distinctive in locating its source of regeneration, my dear students. Source of regeneration, it's different totally. Material and intellectual, we can't say that only forests are going to give us materials, our natural resources. But at the same time, besides, they are giving intellectual, right? In the forest, not the city, we have learnt both, we have got both the things in the sense, materials as well as intellectual gifts. Material as well as intellectual gifts we have got or learnt from the forest only, not from the crowds. No knowledge will be gained from the crowds. For example, many times we come across why a saint or a sage go to Himalaya mountain. Why he meditates there for a longer time? In order to concentrate his mind and to get the enlightenment. Is there any history? Is anybody that who got enlightenment by sitting at the middle of Whatever we are today, it's because of forests only. Alright. India's best ideas have come where man is in communion with trees and rivers and lakes and away from the crowds. Communion, this is an intimate friend. Communion. It's a kind of celebration in Christianity. Once in a month they celebrate it, that's a different thing. But here we have to consider communion as an intimate friend. Communion. Man has become friend. Man has become such a bosom with trees, lakes, rivers. Man is not alone. That's the reason he says that man is not alone. Man cannot be alone, all alone. Man has to go with the forest in order to bring a lot of ideas to his mind and to use them in his day-to-day routine. He is totally dependent on nature. Right, my dear students, the peace of the forest has helped the intellectual evolution of man. We have got, yes, the peace of the forest. We have got it, the peace and intellectual capacity from the forest only, not from the cities, right? That is the reason that led the intellectual evolution of a man, not from the city, not from the road, not from this crowd. The culture of the forest has fueled the culture of Indian society. Culture of the forest has fueled, it has given us, it has provided us the culture of Indian society. We have got our culture. If we have got our culture today, it's because of forest only, not from our crowded areas, not from the cities, not from the lanes, but totally from the forest only. That's all. The culture that has risen from the forest has been influenced by the diverse processes of renewal of life. Diverse processes means various different cultures. We have got different cultures of different species or different living beings from the forest only. Not only one particular, according to Rabindranath Tagore. And there he says that diverse processes of renewal of life which are always at play in the forest. Play in the forest in the sense it changes one after the other because different living beings are there. They have their own particular season to show their power. And after that particular, their strength, their beauty, and even their offspring. So they have their own time. In what way? Varying from species to species, it changes from species to species, from season to season. In sight and sound and smell, we get ripened fruits. That too in autumn season. Autumn season is always cold, the season between summer and winter, rainy season. But in summer, except the sultry or hot sun, we can't get anything. Can we get any kind of greenery? No, never. We don't find comfortable atmosphere. Wherever we go, we just start to frustrate the environment. Why we are in this sultry atmosphere? Why don't we have a cool climate, cold climate. So this is what we require, the body requires. That's what he says, that every living being has got its season. It changes from season to season. And it is been given by the forest only, not we ourselves. We have not created anything. Everything is created by the Almighty Himself. And after that too, after creating the forest, according to Rabindranath Tagore, the unifying principle of life and diversity of democratic pluralism, unified principle of life and diversity. My dear students, such a principle is there. United principle in a diversity, different ways of democratic pluralism. Democratic in the sense, different living species are there, living beings are there. They too have their plurality, their unity. If we do not have that, if we do not have the diversity, the concept of diversity in this democratic pluralism, then there will be no value. There should be diversity in this democratic pluralism of different species which are present on this earth. Thus became the principle of Indian civilization. That is what it has become, Indian civilization. Because India, our country, has got innumerable languages, caste, creed, subcaste. But we are unable to, we are unable to have the unity. Why? Because let it be with the language, let it be with the caste, let it be with the, their creed or color, but why don't we have the unity intellectually? Mind is completely polluted. That is the reason we say that, which is the biggest pollution in the world. Mind pollution is the biggest pollution in the world rather than other pollutions. That is what, my dear students, in this Indian civilization, forests are contributing everything. If forests are not there, no living being is there. That's what it is. This unity in diversity, that is the basis of both ecological sustainability and democracy. Both ecological sustainability and democracy. There should be unity and diversity in both ecological sustainability and democracy. Otherwise, there will be no chance or opportunity for the other living beings to live on this earth. Diversity without unity becomes the source of conflict and contest. If only diversity is there, if there is no unity, then it will be meaningless. That's what diversity without unity becomes the source of conflict and contest. If no diversity, only unity is there, then there will be ground for external control and conflict. Unity without diversity becomes the ground for external control. This is true of both nature and culture. That's what, there should be diversity and unity in this pluralism, in this pluralistic democracy. Otherwise, no living being will have their life. No living being will have their peaceful life. And no living being will have their harmonious lifestyle. That's what the forest is, unity in its diversity. Unity in its diversity. Every living species should be given freedom. Should be given freedom to walk, freedom to run, freedom to drink water, freedom to eat its food, whatever it eats. So let us not to object it, because it is also part of nature. We discussed in the last point, key factor, key point. Anthropocentrism to ecocentrism. So let us not to show our selfish desire, selfish nature. Instead, we have to show selfless nature. So that only we will have our own existence. Right, my dear students? So the forest is a unity in its diversity, and we are united with culture through our relationship with the forest. Forest is a unity in a diversity. Then only we can have a relationship. Then only human beings will have a wonderful relationship with other living beings. Otherwise, there will be no relationship. If there is no intimate relationship, then how can other living beings live comfortably with all the requirements on this earth? It's impossible thing. That's all. It's every human being. Every human being has to think meticulously about the other living species and their basic needs, so that only we just can have a space for us as well as for others. In Tagore's writings, the forest was not just the source of knowledge and freedom. In Tagore's writing, forest was not just the source of knowledge and freedom. In Tagore's writing, we find there is only forest. In forest, we not only find freedom and knowledge, but at the same time, what it has got. It was the source of beauty and joy, of art and aesthetics. Art and aesthetics, sense of beauty. My dear students, here we come across with this aesthetics means sense of beauty. Let us see, forests are not only giving us freedom, knowledge or wisdom, but at the same time, the joy, the happiness, the beauty, everything is being given by the forest only. Because if you happen to go to forest, we understand the beauty of the forest. We understand the beauty of the plants. We understand the beauty of the other living creatures. Then we enjoy it. Sitting in a crowded city, I am thinking about aesthetic sense of the forest is totally, it appears to be you are sitting in a barren land asking for a greenery or a garden. That's all. Let us not to have such concept according to Rabindranath Tagore. My dear students, so that only we can have harmony with this nature, and then only we can have harmony and perfection, otherwise no, nothing. It symbolizes the universe. The forest teaches us union and compassion. Union means unification, compassion means right, harmonious relations, sympathy, compassionate feelings. If we care for nature, nature will care for us. If we nurture the nature, nature will nurture us. If we neglect the nature, nature will also neglect us. That's all. We have to always adore the nature. As we come across in the Kannada language, Kuppali Venkatappa Kuttappa, who is also called as national poet, Kannada's national poet, right? He too wrote many works, many poems, not words particularly, many poems. His poetry is on nature itself. In the same way, in English literature too, we come across Mr. William Wordsworth, who is full of words, is called as William Wordsworth, who is also called as the lover of the nature. My dear students, in the same way, Rabindranath Tagore too writes on nature, particularly about forests. So the purity of the forest, he appeals the common people that let us not to make impure the purity of the forest or forest purity. Let us not to make impure. Let us not to make the forest as an impure place. Let us protect it. Right? It symbolizes the universe. The forest teaches us union and compassion. Right, my dear students? Next. The forest also teaches us enoughness as a principle of equity. Equity in the sense of equality, principle of equality. How to enjoy the gifts of nature without exploitation and accumulation. Let us enjoy the gifts of the forest without exploiting them or accumulating them. Accumulation is nothing but collecting with greedy nature, accumulation. Let us not accumulate and exploit the nature. Then in what way we have to enjoy the nature? Tagore quotes from the ancient texts written in the forest. Tagore writes in the ancient text as it was written already. Know all that moves in this moving world as developed by God. Whatever is, try to know that whatever is running, whatever is now present here, whatever is going on, it is enveloped, it is rotated by the God, He Himself, omnipotent, omnipresent and omniscient, which are not known by we the common human beings. It is only known by the Almighty itself and the God itself, the Creator who has created everything for we, not only for we ourselves and human beings, but also for the other living beings who are present on this earth. My dear students, and find the enjoyment through renunciation. Find the enjoyment through renunciation. Formal rejection of belief, renunciation. My dear students, renunciation. Let us fulfill, let us enjoy natural resources through renunciation. Formal rejection of belief. Let us not have any belief or a course of time. Let us not to just have misconceptions about the nature. Let us think practically, scientifically. If we cut down the trees, if we favor the deforestation, what will be the impacts? In what way will be impacted by it? What are its effects? How it affects? So we have to know this. If we do not, we are going to suffer a lot in our forthcoming life, in the future. Not the greed of possession. Let us not enjoy this, the gifts of Mother Earth through greed of possession, but through renunciation. My dear students, no species in a forest appropriates the share of another species. No species in a forest appropriates the share of other or another species. My dear students, no species will say that whatever they have the part, how much space they have, they are going to use it. Whatever the food It might be vegetarian or non-vegetarian. Whatever the part of food they have got by birth, we can't able to collect it. We can't able to get it from. We can't able to snatch from that. Why? Because it's their part. See, it's everyone's part and parcel to fulfill their requirements, their needs, their desires, not the greed of possession. That's what Vandana Shiva says. Let us not to have this possessive nature, as Rabindranath Tagore is also going to tell us in the poetry of the forest. If we have this concept, the greediness, we may not be able to fulfill the part of the knowledge of what? I mean, as long as we have this pot full of water, we can take it from one place to another. Once it spills or drops down, it starts to shake inside the pot. So in the same way, a person who always tries to have more knowledge, or a person who knows that whatever he is trying to have is more useful and he can use it in a day today or in a day or two, definitely that will be useful for him or her. So if whatever we do it is going to harm others, is going to impact badly on others, then that cannot be welcomed by anybody else in a society. So that sort of concept should not be there in the human mind. So we can't snatch other living beings food, place, shelter and their assets. Every species sustains itself in cooperation with others. Yes. Why? Every species sustains itself in cooperation with others. Why? Because they have to have. If we have cooperation, others will also have cooperation. If we are going without cooperation, they will also go without cooperation. That's all. It's our prime duty. It's our main responsibility to cooperate with other living beings always. And at the same time, we have to protect them. The end of consumerism and accumulation. The protection of the interests of the consumers, my dear students. Consumerism is the protection of the interests of the consumers. Consumerism. In what way we are promoting? Let us end this consumerism. Let us end this trade. Let us end this business. Let us not make this nature as the capital point of view, business point of view. Let us take it as nature, natural, commonly. Let us not to harm it. So if we use it in a business point of view, definitely the nature itself will brings its reciprocality. I mean the relationship. My dear students, the end of consumerism and accumulation is the beginning of the joy of living. End of consumerism and the accumulation, beginning of the accumulation, my dear students, is the beginning of joy of living. They should be end, we should end both. Which are those? See, consumerism and another concept, accumulation. Let us end both. Accumulation. Let us end both consumerism and accumulation. Collection of things. Collection of things in a mass or a heap. In a heap, my dear students, heap means in large quantity. So let us stop this. Unless we stop these two, I mean the consumerism and accumulation, we just can't have any relationship with the nature. Let us stop these two so that only we can have the enjoyment. We can have the joy of living. There will be a life with full of joy. Otherwise, no, never. The conflict between greed and compassion, selfishness, greed, selfish desire, and compassion means sympathy. The conflict, always there is a conflict between greed and compassion, selfish nature, selfish desire and sympathy, conquest and cooperation, domination and cooperation. Conquest means domination, violence and harmony. Violence, forcing others to allow to do something or to listen to do something. See, violence and harmony that Tagore wrote about continues today. There is conflict always, greed and compassion, conquest and cooperation, violence and harmony. Let us not to violate. Let us not to be violent. Let us not to be greedy. Let us not to be conquest. Instead, let us be the compassionate, cooperative and harmonious, so that only the entire life will be more jovial. Tagore wrote about continues today, and it is the forest that can show us the way beyond this conflict. Forest can show us the way beyond this conflict. Let us not be in this conflict. Let us not be in this kind of complexity. If we move away from this paradigm, if we enter into this ecological paradigm, model, definitely there will be no harm for the nature. We being the human, what are our duties? What are our rights? At what extent we can help the Mother Earth and protect her natural resources. If we have this idea, that's more enough. And if we execute accordingly, that is enough. Let us not do more than this, my dear students. quite well. Everything I need to know I learned in the forest has taught us the relations between, yes, how relations between the human beings and other living beings, how we have to act, and what is the asset of the nature. We have already learnt it in the previous classes as well as in the today's class. Well, my dear students, hope you have understood it. For comprehension, to understand thoroughly this essay, you will have to refer textbook seriously, and if you like this video, keep subscribing Sri Guru Independent View Online English classes continuously, so that you will be able to, yes, get the things in a well manner, and it will be more helpful for your betterment of your UC English syllabus. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching.